I'm going to introduce our head coach, Todd Dutiaume.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's nice to see so many people turned out. I was supposed to come up here and give a summary of our season, which Ali already did, so this is going to be a little off the cuff, or I'll just repeat everything he said. It was a season of some pretty low lows and a lot of highs towards the end. I know there was a lot of expectation right off the bat. And I don't think anybody felt it more than myself and my associate coach, Danny. Right off the bat, when we put the team together and looked at it on paper, we were very, very excited this summer. And we kept looking at it and thought, we're going to make some serious waves in the league this year. This looks fantastic. But it didn't necessarily turn that way right off the bat. And it's amazing what a few losses or a few wins will do for a team. I know that right off the bat, I think that certainly with this squad, chemistry was a bit of an issue. And I know that when Danny and myself would sit in my office before training, sometimes before games, it was pretty quiet out in that dressing room. A few times we had to walk out there and think like we don't have much of a heartbeat going on right now. And that's not something that you can snap your fingers and magically find. That's something that has to come from the group themselves. And we struggled with it for a while. But our directors believed in what we were doing. They gave us the time to stick with what we believed in. And we definitely believed in these guys. And I think around Christmas time, where we lost those back-to-back games against Dundee and Edinburgh, just like Ali had said there, I think that a lot of people had thrown in the towel. A lot of people had written us off. And at one point, I think we found ourselves firmly in 10th place. And that's tough for hockey players and coaches alike to take. There came a point where we came into the dressing room and we said, listen, you have to realize what you're here for. You're here to enjoy yourself, you're here to make a living, and you're here to win hockey games. And that's it's a long time. If you're playing for a month and a half for nothing to play for, that's an awful long time. We don't want to write these playoffs off. And just overnight, all of a sudden, that changed a little bit, and we started winning a hockey game. We won 1, and we won 2, and we just throughout the month of February continued to do that, and it was a pretty special place to be. And then all of a sudden, from going from a silent dressing room, I had to wedge that door shut, and then I have idiots walking past during interviews with porridge taped to their head, hairy bum cheeks pushing on the window while you're trying to do an interview. That transition happened very quickly, and I don't know how that happened. Danny Stewart used a term over the course of the season, take care of your bodies, and we had team weigh-ins, and that went over like a sack of hammers. I decided to borrow that off him. We had just got into this run, and we thought, you know what, we didn't realize we were going to have to go something like 13-3-1. We thought we'd have to have a good performance, but so one practice I stole his line, and I said on the ice, I said, look, come on guys, we're getting down to the business end of the season here. Let's take care of your bodies. And the guys all nodded, and they absolutely agreed this was going to be a big weekend. And my daughter had a ski lesson up in Glenshee, so that Thursday night practice after I was driving right back up to Glenshee that night, and I was driving down the chapel level, and I saw Kyle Horn's car in front of me, and I'm thinking, my mind's thinking maybe the worst, because I'm thinking, what's Kyle Horn doing driving up this area of town at 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. That's not right. So I was following him, and he pulled into the retail park, and I thought, oh, you know what? I got a long drive. I'll go in and I'll get myself a milkshake. I drive in, and Kyle pulls in, and he pulls into Sainsbury's gas station, and he gets out of his car, and I said, oh, okay, he must have just been going for petrol. So I pulled into McDonald's, and I got out of my car, and I looked over the hedge, and I saw him standing beside his car with a hand on his car, and he was fake putting petrol into his car. So he kind of looks around, he gets back into his car without putting the gas in his car. And he comes in. In the meantime, I had gone in and I'd ordered, and I went around the corner in the drive-thru, and all of a sudden I seen this silver Vectra pull in behind me. And as he pulled in right behind me, I seen him sink lower. Next thing you know, the conveyor belt was throwing big tasty bags out. So it's good to see your players take your advice. Kyle has been affectionately known as Big Tasty for the rest of the season. See how you really have an effect on players. But I think at that point I realized that these guys were doing their own thing. And I think that's important because as a coach you can only guide your players a little bit and we ask a lot of them, but I'm not their dad, and we can only ask certain things of them. But when you're on a roll like this and you're enjoying yourself, guys will get into their routines and away from the rink, whether it's what Kyle gets up to or what a few of them other get up to. It's a good thing, and they've rode it this month, and big shout out to Olivia Margaret. She's accompanied me to the event tonight. Her favorite hockey players are Tommy Muir and her dad. So that shows she has about as much hockey sense as her dad does. She also she's predicted all the way up that we were going to make the playoffs. Every time we came back and every time we won, she loves the games, and every time I've come back, she says, you're definitely going to make the playoffs and you're going to win the trophy. And she said, just the other day, she said, you're going to win, you're going to beat Sheffield. Dad, you guys are going to get the trophy off Sheffield. I don't like people who steal. So she's been right so far. I think we're on a roll. But this is a great group of guys. We've had a lot of fun, but probably compressed into the last 2 months, this group has got really close. I know that you guys have had a chance to meet them maybe a little bit more this year with the late skates, and there's some great personalities in the room, and it's been a pleasure to get to know these guys. I picked up Matt Nickerson from the airport at the start of the season, and I'd seen pictures of him, but when he walked out, I took a step back, and he said, "Listen, Coach, can we go somewhere to eat?" It was, I think it was Saturday morning. I think we had Cardiff that night, and the only thing I could think of was this pancake place, down the high street, and the chairs are regular. Like I feel like a normal person in the chairs. He got into the chair and his knees were about 6 inches above the table, and he said, "What's good here?" I said, I don't know, like maybe an omelet. So he ordered an omelet, and I did too, and mine was like that. And in front of him, his looked like he cut it in half, ate it in 2 bites. He said, "I got to play tonight?" I said, "Yeah, you have to play tonight." And he made quite a first impression. Needless to say. And there's been a big debate about Matt this year. Love him or hate him, he's a very influential player, and I think that our record when he's in the lineup speaks for itself. I think that a lot of guys over the years have got abused. And Matt keeps these guys in check, and I think he's also a heck of a player. Yeah. I also picked up Ned Lukasevic at the airport, and before we got to the Fourth Road Bridge, he asked me 67 questions and answered 65 of them for me. So, we got another beauty here. That's good. When Ned plays the game, I think you guys realize that we certainly dug up another special guy there, he's been incredibly influential in our lineup. Just to show you the difference between enjoying yourself and not enjoying yourself. At the start of the season, Danny and I would sit in our office, and we'd be talking, and 5 minutes before practice, he would run out there and get his equipment on it, and then go train. Whereas last night, I looked out there, and 35 minutes before training, he has his equipment on, and he says, "Look, I'm having fun right now. I'm enjoying myself," and that's pretty important. And I think when guys are enjoying themselves and they're having a good fun, and that's the most important thing. When you guys are in the building and you're watching a team winning, you're watching guys having fun out there. It's exciting for you. As coaches and players, the game just becomes easier, and you get way more out of these guys. But like I said earlier, you don't have that magic wand that you can wave, and it's been a tough old year. Big Brucey's birthday, by the way. I don't know if noses are like trees, but if you add a little bit more every year, Brucey, that makes you what? 104? Sorry, Brucey, I appreciate that. On a more serious note, right at the start of February, we made some lineup tweaks, and as a coach, releasing people and making changes to the lineup and not playing people is definitely not my favorite part of the job. It's very difficult for me to do, and there's some guys that didn't play a great deal in the second half of the season, and when they're employees it's hard, but when they're close personal friends, it's even more difficult. I've known some of these guys for 15, 16 years. I mean, Josh Schoon was 5 when I came here. But what these guys have to remember is, Ali mentioned it earlier, we were going with a full lineup when we went down and beat Cardiff, when we beat Sheffield in Sheffield. So everybody sitting at these tables has played a big part in all our success this year. And I don't want you guys to forget that, because the hockey gods are funny. 1 second you're not called upon, the next second you're a major player in the lineup. So just remember that, guys. These guys come every day, they work hard, and I know it's tough, but huge part of the team. Don't ever forget that, guys. That's important, okay? Derek Rail. I was thinking about not being politically correct, but that's enough said. Kevin Regan's like my dad. I'm supposed to be the old one, but he sits on the bus and he does homework and practices math while I fool around with the idiots up front. This guy's played at some of the highest levels of hockey, and the look of disgust that he gives the 2 hardest working guys in our team sometimes sums it up. I mean, Killer actually comes on the bus with a suitcase full of food. When we leave the ice rink, he starts eating one of his 37 Scotch eggs, into Greg's for a couple sausage rolls, a cookie, a Krispy Kreme donut, and a juice. And Reeves knows he has to get up off the floor when Killer starts eating his foot-long sub as we're pulling into Nottingham. So. But I think really disgusted the guy, because he probably had trainers that have NHL experience and stuff like that before, was Stu Brown came onto the bus one time and he was rattling a little bit. He had a tough night before, and a night before that, and a night before that, and a night before that. You see where I'm going with this? He had a 6-pack of gin and tonic. Nobody ever had seen that before. And Regan says to him, like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And with a straight face, he says, "Look, I I got like 16 pairs of skates to sharpen. I got to steady my hands out somehow. So that's what these guys deal with on a regular basis. I could keep going. I know it's going to be a long night, and we're just fooling around here. But I really think, I know you guys feel this way because I've known a lot of you for a long time. These guys, what they've accomplished the last couple months doesn't happen. I mean, it happens to teams that go on to win the league and have special seasons. But what these guys have accomplished in the last month, especially a team that was, like I said, sitting in 10th place, and since November 22nd or something like that, back in 9th place. And we firmly stayed there, you know, right till the last weekend of the season. What they did is amazing. I love them. But I don't think that we should stop there. I think that they have 4 more games to win. If I was a betting man, I'd put my money on them because I think that these guys are riding confidently right now. When they come to play, they play well, and I think that as a group they feel they can beat anybody, and so they should. They're a good hockey club, and some guys are going to get awards tonight. But I think as a group, you guys, like, I'm telling you what, I'm really proud of you, and enjoy it, and let's go out and do it. Okay?
Thank you, Todd.